So at the cafe before, I was doing some, financial paperworky admin stuff, but there's some really exciting things for me because I got my HR documentation. So that's the stuff that will allow me to build and manage a team properly, having contracts, having employment agreements, workplace health and safety documents, all sorts of things that will build an employee handbook, which makes things super, super exciting, super official, and I'm pretty stoked about that. Also, I'm not sure if you guys have ever heard of an app called Blinkist, but I've been really enjoying using it. Basically, it summarizes books into 15-minute blinks, basically capturing the essence of a book. It allows you to kind of consume and read or listen to a book in 15 minutes instead of the hours it probably would to actually get through it. And then if you like the book, it's up to you whether you go ahead and read the whole thing. But anyways, I'll probably make a new video about that as well, but that's part of my self-development improvements over the last couple months is this app, Blinkist. Really great. Helps me to get into books that I haven't really made the time for because they're gonna take so long to get through. Anyways, I'm gonna go off to the shops now because I mentioned I'm gonna get something that's really interesting, and I will show you guys what that is in a second. Yeah, pretty good as well. Putting on a staff member as well, and well, first time, and trying to manage and learn how to do that properly. But other than that, just getting through projects and just getting the second half of the year underway. So pretty good. And here we are. I'm pretty keen. Yes, it's a new iPad Air. Well, it's not the Pro model. It's the 2021 that still has the mobile chip, the A14, I think. It doesn't have the M1. But yeah, I've been keen. Oh yeah, also yes, I picked up the pencil. Look, I'll talk a bit more about this when I get home. I've just had a bit of lunch, so I'll go home first. Alright, we're back. On a side note, how awesome is this couch that my wife has set up? White couches, you gotta be careful around them, but they do look good. As I was saying, just came from the Apple store, and I am now, if I wasn't already, I'm now officially fully Apple because we have made the entire shift of all of my current devices. Almost. I'm still not wearing an Apple Watch, and I don't have that new AirTag thing that I actually don't even know what it is yet. But we now have the MacBook here. We've got my iMac as my main editing rig and main machine back at the office. Have the iPhone 11, and now to complete the circle of primary devices, we have the iPad Air. So I'm just gonna do a really quick, really basic unboxing, nothing flashy here, but I'll talk about why I actually ended up deciding to get this. And honestly, 2 weeks ago, I wasn't sure if I needed to. I'll just talk through it. All right, let's start to take a look at what's inside this thing. So this is the iPad Air 4th generation, so not the iPad Pro, and the 2nd generation Apple Pencil. Does look quite nice, doesn't it? I just feel like I should have taken a photo. So inside the iPad Air, let's open it. Whoop. That is good. Wow. All right. Very sleek case design. And here is what is in the box. Look at that. Perfectly sits inside that box. And underneath that, we have the charge cable and an outlet for the charge cable. It is cool to see that Apple has gone with a USB Type-C, which is what all of their new devices have. Now, I can use the same type cable for so many different things, including our camera gear. USB Type-C is just the best thing ever. So we'll put that aside now. And I think that is everything in the box. It is, again, super minimal. Little iPad Air manual, I'm assuming. And some stickers, as you do, for the fanboys out there. This is pretty cool, this little intro manual. So I will actually have a look at it, and I think I'll have a read to understand how to use the iPad a lot better. Of course, here is the main event, beautifully wrapped. I got it in space gray, because I'm a big fan of space gray products, so it matches my MacBook, and hopefully the newer iMacs that come out, I'll definitely be looking to get a space gray one. As much as I love silver, it's something that speaks to me about gunmetal gray, space gray type products, and man, that is sleek. That is such a sleek device. It's a beautiful metal finish. You can see that the bezels are very small. I'm really excited to use this and turn it on. Actually, I have to figure out how to turn it on. Power button might help. There we go. Obviously, this being a new machine, I'll definitely make sure I go and charge it before I use it properly. So let's put that aside. Hello. It's actually got 87% battery already, so that's cool. So now I'm gonna put this, see, look at that, look how perfect, it's just amazing. I love the attention to detail, like the size of the box is exactly, like the image on the box is exactly the size of the iPad. Like that is so cool. That is, yeah, detail stuff, but the details matter. And now the Apple Pencil. Let's unbox this, have a look inside, which I'm yet to learn about. I'm yet to learn more about what it actually can do, how it works, but look at that, it's very smooth, and I believe it charges as well, or it requires charge. And yeah, it's magnetic. So it snaps right onto the iPad, and I believe the iPad charges it as well. Some cool little instructions inside the Apple Pencil box as well.
Alright, so you may or may not be wondering why I decided to grab an iPad, and I alluded to it earlier that I have been thinking over whether or not to pick up one of these just recently in the last 2 weeks. I guess it's one of those things that for me it's kind of a luxury item in a way, in terms of I don't really need it, but I really feel like it will enhance a lot of the things that I do, a lot of the way that I currently operate, that I feel an iPad will just enhance my own workflow productivity. Firstly, I really love writing things down to start with. I have my notebook, I bullet journal, I do a lot of things. I'm very kinesthetic, I believe is the learning style, but I'm not just visual. I need to be writing, I need to be doing things all the time to explain. And in fact, one of the best things that I had invested in recently is a whiteboard for the business, because I'm able to actually write out my thoughts, sketch the way that I always want to be. Like when I talk to people, I find that I find it a lot easier to be sketching, drawing, demonstrating, and not just explaining it, if that makes sense. And so there's meetings that I've had where I have a laptop, and as good as a laptop is, I really wish I could have just pulled out a pencil, even though I have a notebook, just a digital, to, you know, make it all digital, start sketching something, make it really clear. So I'm really interested to see how that improves my workflow. I've also been observing how other people have used their own iPads. Like my wife is a teacher, and she says that within the school, they use iPads for virtually everything. She uses the iPad for marking, she uses it for filming classes, just multi-purpose things that a phone doesn't really look good using, if that makes sense. So for example, like even if I'm taking notes in a meeting, or if I'm taking notes at church or in a seminar, I feel like an iPad or a tablet device just looks like something you're allowed to use, at least in comparison to using a phone. You know, it just looks a bit more acceptable to be using a tablet to take notes than a phone, because you know, a phone you could look like you're messaging or just texting or being on social media. Yeah, I really feel like that's an intangible reason for me to have gotten an iPad. And Scott McKenna, who is one of my coaches within the video production world, he's mentioned how he's managed to use his iPad for virtually everything that isn't editing. And so I've been really curious to find out how that can work for me, and especially with the way that I operate. And I'm really keen to see how I can put this device to use. Another reason is as a teleprompter. Now we have a teleprompter system software with phones at the moment, which is all well and good, it works. but we need to use these little phones and put them in a small teleprompter that's lens mounted. I'd be interested to see how much more dynamic and easier it is to use a teleprompter that's this big as opposed to one that's, you know, a quarter of the size, and see if we can have uses where, you know, even myself, if I'm recording a video now, I could potentially have my notes ready on this iPad and use it as a teleprompter as well. There are so many reasons. I think another one that I just thought of was if I was in sales meetings and I'd built up a point of sale system like Square and was able to take deposits there and then in person, I could use an iPad to sync to that Square device, have the Square reader handy, and just take payment on the spot, which is something cool that I've been looking at working towards. And on the topic of sales meetings, if I'm in a meeting, I feel like this works better as a presenting tool as opposed to a laptop. Even though they do virtually the same thing, I feel like there's something just more presentable about having a tablet device in a sales meeting and being able to even have a proposal ready to sign and literally being able to go, here it is, you can sign on the dotted line right there. I'm excited to see how that can happen. Ooh, hello. And another reason is going to be in terms of our own video production workflow. When we're reviewing and watching our final videos, our drafts, we test it on our big screens. We also test it on our phones and laptops. And I think this is going to be another excellent way to actually review videos internally, as well as another playback device that a lot of people actually use. And so they'll give us a good idea of the visuals and sound on a tablet looking device or tablet. So there are many reasons that I've decided to pick this up, and I'm keen to see how I can put it to work. Also, you might be wondering, Joe, why did you get an iPad Air with the A14 chip and not the iPad Pro that's newer that has the M1? And yeah, I have an M1 MacBook, love the new architecture. But like I said before, I have a main editing computer. I don't really intend on using this as an editing machine. It'd be cool to play around with it to see how it performs, but I didn't purchase this for the purpose of editing. I purchased this to see if I could have a tool to do everything else other than editing. So I don't need the horsepower that the M1 chip provides. Plus, here in Australia, I believe the base model iPad Pro that has just Wi-Fi is $11.99 Australian dollars. And I got this machine here for $849, and that's price matching to a local retailer. And Apple Store is fine with that as well, so that they will price beat in Australia up to 10%. You know, it was a kind of a no-brainer, like to save $350 on a machine that, you know, I'm not actually going to be using it for anything other than really the maybe photo editing. Might be the most intensive thing I do, but I'm fairly sure this can handle that. I won't be doing any video editing on this machine at all. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got something from it. I'm not pretending to be a tech channel, a tech review expert or anything. I'm merely recording my thoughts on a new tool that I've decided to pick up to improve my own workflow. And I'm just excited to be able to record a video about it. And so hopefully you did get some value out of it. And if you feel like my channel is something that you can get some benefit out of, then I'd love for you to comment below. Let's have a conversation. Feel free to like and subscribe as well for future videos. And other than that, I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I will see you guys and girls on the next video. Bye.